I'm Shannon Martin. A GTA mayor announces his bid to lead the federal Conservative Party.
Help me fight for this future as leader of the Conservative Party of Canada.
Patrick Brown makes it official who he's running against. Plus,
snow is falling, very picturesque. Couldn't be happier to be here at Chair Day with some good friends.
Classic Canadian weather at the NHL's Heritage Classic in Hamilton. And shining all the way to the end, how Team Canada fared on the last day of competition at the Paralympic Games.
This is CBC Late Night News.
Thanks for joining us. We'll have those stories in a moment. But first, an update to that deadly highway crash we told you about yesterday. 5 students from India have been identified as the people killed, according to police. All 5 were young men between 21 and 24 years old. They'd been studying in Montreal and the GTA. The crash happened on Highway 401 west of Belleville. A semi-truck and passenger van somehow collided. 2 other passengers in the van were taken to hospital with serious injuries. The truck driver was uninjured. Police working to figure out what caused the crash. So far, no charges have been laid. We'll bring you more details as we learn them. After weeks of speculation, Patrick Brown making it official tonight. The mayor of Brampton is running to lead the federal Conservatives. As Talia Ricci reports, he is well known in the GTA, and that could help give him a competitive edge.
Patrick Brown made the official announcement in Brampton this morning.
Today, I'm asking you to help me fight for this future as leader of the Conservative Party of Canada.
The 43-year-old framed himself as a candidate who could grow the Conservatives and win a general election. He promised to tackle issues like affordability, support religious freedom, and unite the party.
Conservatives need a leader who knows how to build support in the communities, regions, and seats where we need to break through to form government.
Brown has held positions at all 3 levels of government. He was a federal Conservative MP before becoming leader of the Ontario Progressive Conservatives in 2015. Brown resigned from that role in 2018 after he was accused of sexual misconduct in a story published by CTV News. Brown denied the allegations and recently reached a settlement in a defamation suit launched against the network.
When the media tried to make me cancel culture's latest victim by smearing me with false allegations, I fought back and won.
In a statement, the broadcaster said it regrets some factual inaccuracies in their original story. That same year, in 2018, Brown became the mayor of Brampton.
Thank you, Brampton!
Brown is the 5th candidate to enter the Conservative leadership race, alongside former Quebec Premier Jean Charest, Conservative MP Pierre Poilievre, Conservative MP Leslyn Lewis, and Independent Ontario MPP Roman Baber. Experts anticipate a tough competition.
He seems to have a following of people who are willing to work very hard in signing up new members and getting them out to vote, in leadership conventions and in nomination races. So he certainly has that strength, as well as a network that he's built up over time.
This is going to be won by boots on the ground. Who's ready to get up in the morning, sell the memberships, convince voters, talk to them every day? That's what will end up deciding that.
The new leader of the federal Conservative Party will be chosen on September 10th. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, Brown will stay on as the mayor of Brampton during his leadership bid. He plans to donate his salary to charity during the race. Well, once again, loud demands for more support for Ukraine ringing through the streets of downtown Toronto. People joining worldwide calls for a no-fly zone. Wearing blue and yellow, waving flags and holding signs that denounce the Russian president's actions, they stood outside the American consulate, organizers wanting governments to do more and provide critical help. Meantime, Russian forces have widened their assault on Ukraine right to NATO's doorstep. This as negotiators on both sides reported progress today in ongoing talks, both saying agreements could come within days. As Chris Brown reports, though, how far that will go towards stopping the violence is unclear.
In the pre-dawn hours, just 20 kilometers from the border with NATO member Poland, at least 30 Russian missiles targeted the military barracks at Yavoriv. At least 35 people were killed as a steady stream of more than 100 ambulances took the injured to nearby hospitals in what may be the single most deadly attack during Russia's invasion. 17-year-old Denis Bensak told CBC News the blast shook his apartment. When I heard the explosion, the sound of it was strong. I was afraid. I started to shake. I was panicked, he said. The mayor here was defiant when he met journalists at City Hall.
Putin will never take over Ukraine. They will all return back home in coffins.
This community and the base here are very well known to Canada's military. It was the headquarters for years for Operation Unifier, which helped train members of Ukraine's military. It's a hugely symbolic target for Russia to hit, given its connections to NATO. Escalation by Russia was expected. Its top officials warned shipments of Western weapons, possibly using routes near here, would be considered targets. But there were other tragedies this day too. American journalist and documentary maker Brent Renaud was shot dead outside Kyiv by Russian soldiers near a checkpoint, said a colleague who was with him.
And they start shooting at us. So the driver turned around and they kept shooting.
And in besieged Mariupol, there was still no respite from Russian bombs, nor could aid convoys get in. City officials say 2,100 civilians have now died, and the rest, possibly 200,000 people, are almost out of food and water. Throughout such desperate times, President Volodymyr Zelensky has tried to project strength. Sunday, he left his office and walked outside in Kyiv to a hospital where he met wounded soldiers. Get well soon, he told one. It's important. Western Ukraine has been spared the worst of Russia's air attacks, but the air raid sirens are now going off every night. And by striking a target with strong Western associations, Russia is reinforcing its warnings to stay out of the conflict with deadly force. Chris Brown, CBC News in Lviv, Ukraine.
Closer to home now, the head of Canada's largest private sector union has stepped down. Unifor members were notified in a statement today that Jerry Diaz has retired effective immediately. The union represents about 315,000 workers across Canada. Diaz has led the union for almost a decade. He's been on medical leave the last couple of weeks, and the statement mentions he continues to deal with health issues. The wintry weather didn't stop thousands of fans from filling the stands at the NHL Heritage Classic in Hamilton. Greg Ross brings us the sights and sounds.
The setting for the Heritage Classic was just about as Canadian as it gets.
Snow is falling, very picturesque.
It's perfect weather, perfect atmosphere. I love it.
The Buffalo Sabres were listed as the home team in Hamilton, but it was clear who most fans came for.
To see Toronto play.
It was a sea of Leafs blue in the stands, and the Leafs showed their appreciation for that support, arriving at Tim Hortons Field in orange coveralls, similar to those worn by employees at Hamilton-based steel manufacturer Stelco.
100% player-driven. They came up with the idea and the concept. Terrific opportunity to honor a terrific company. 100-year-old company here in Hamilton, 100 years old, just like ourselves.
You get goosebumps seeing them walk in like that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
There's a huge history of industry here, so it's great to see the players supporting it. And Tim Hortons, what could be more Canadian than that?
Some fans from Buffalo did make the cross-border trip, something that's been a rarity the past 2 years with pandemic restrictions. How are the Canadians treating you so far?
Good, really good.
A little bit harassing, but not too bad.
For some, seeing a hockey game played on a football field took some getting used to.
Let's go, Argos!
Go Leafs, go, man! Go Leafs, go!
He's a little confused over here. That is pretty far away. Are you guys going to be able to see what's happening out there?
I mean, there's not a bad seat in the barn tonight. It looks incredible.
The one thing the Leafs were not able to provide for the fans here at Tim Hortons Field was a victory. The Sabres beat the Leafs by a final of 5-2, handing them their fourth loss in the last 6 games. But with all the excitement and build-up around this game, the Leafs say this was a tougher pill to swallow.
So the result is obviously not what we want, but the build-up is what it is. There's no way to go around that. That's part of the fun.
The first period was a bit of a feel-out process, and then the second and third obviously kind of got going a little bit. I think both teams just kind of got used to the conditions and just kind of playing through that.
Those games are special, and you want to enjoy them, you want to win them.
The Leafs may have lost more than just the game. Leading scorer Austin Matthews could be facing suspension after a cross-check to the head of Sabres defenseman Rasmus Dahlin late in the third period, a play that is now under review by the league. Greg Ross, CBC News, Hamilton.
Sophia is here with our first look at the forecast. Yeah, the orange jumpsuits, the Tims, the layers, I think, would have done wonders today for outside at that game, but it sure looked like fun.
Yeah, we talked about it being perfect weather. Perfect weather if you've got all the pads and all the gear to keep you warm as well. But with the very picturesque snow falling, you couldn't have asked for a better postcard setting for the Heritage Classic, besides maybe a Leafs win. Now, where should we start with today's forecast? Should we begin with the chilly temperatures and still a wind chill with about a -7 feel outside, or should we jump ahead to a sneak peek of the long range and confirm all the rumors for a stellar St. Patrick's Day where we could see Canada's first 20-degree day of 2022. Yes, the first day in Canada of 2022. This is the St. Patrick's Day that could be for the record books. Yeah, let's talk about that for a little while, because it is going to be more temperatures that are reminiscent of May or even the end of April. It's been 10 years since places like North Bay and Barrie saw a double-digit day on St. Patrick's Day, and it's been about 6 years for us in the city of Toronto. It's also going to come with a lot of sunshine, but before we jump ahead to spring, there's still a little bit of seasonal March-like values to come. Monday begins with a little bit of sunshine, and then the clouds roll in the afternoon. So does a little bit of evening rain and some snow for cottage country. We have some seasonal days Monday and Tuesday before the warmth and the big ridge really builds in. Shannon.
A little bit of everything. Okay, we'll check back with you shortly. Welcome back. A neighborhood battle is brewing in the beaches between some residents and the city. By this time tomorrow, 2 enormous trees could be cut down. The city says they're unsafe, but some neighbors and one local expert aren't convinced. Delia Ashry takes a closer look.
These 2 enormous oak trees towering about 70 feet high won't be there for much longer.
They left a tag on in my mailbox saying that, in their opinion, that the tree would have to be removed.
These trees have been around for over 20 years, and on Monday, Peter Pankala was notified by the city that they will be removed.
They'll probably be cutting hydro to the area. The street will be closed, and apologies for any incontinence that this may cause. And I'm like, really well thought out letter.
In February, the city deemed the tree with the orange marking as unsafe.
I observed them walking around the tree, banging on the tree, looking up at the tree.
And that's not Peter's first encounter with the city. Over 2 years ago, they notified him about issues with the tree on the north side.
A branch came down, fell across the neighbor's property. We cleaned it up.
Peter has been consulting this arborist for more than a decade.
In 2005, that's me up in the tree, and these are our measuring instruments measuring the reactions of the tree.
The City of Toronto says both trees are in poor condition and dangerous to residents in the area and hydro lines. Saying in a statement to CBC, assessments completed by a number of both city and private arborists confirmed that tree removal is necessary and there are no alternatives. Philip believes the trees are healthy and more assessment is required. He says the city isn't cooperating.
We asked for the base files so that I could put that into the software and look and see whether the interpretation is correct or whether there could be another one. We asked for those files. We were not given those files.
I spoke to Peter's neighbors who live on the north side right over here. They've been living here for 15 years now. They didn't want to go on camera, but they do claim that this tree has been dangerous several times. On 2 accounts, they've had to replace their fence, saying that the limbs had fallen down. Now, the other thing is that the neighbors also tell me that they're not in favor of the city taking down the tree completely. Peter's other neighbors...
Very disappointed they're taking them down.
This neighbor is concerned about Monday's power outage.
I need access to my elevator, which runs on electricity, heat, especially right now, it's freezing.
And time is not in their favor. The trees are expected to come down Monday at 7 a.m.
If the trees are not safe, I want them out. but we haven't had that opportunity to fully assess the trees.
Dahlia Ashry, CBC News, Toronto.
Many families are gearing up to do something they haven't done in 2 years. Get on a plane. With spring break underway, thousands are getting underway. As Farah Morelli shows us, though, there are still some COVID rules to navigate.
A stormy day outside Toronto's Pearson Airport. Inside, many looking to escape to warmer climates.
We're going to Orlando today. Disney World? Yes.
Some are taking their first trip since COVID started.
So we also have a family in Orlando too. So we haven't seen them since COVID, so we're looking forward to so many reasons.
But there's still plenty of pandemic rules, like testing, masking, and navigating the regulations of different countries. That didn't faze many here.
How are you feeling about traveling?
We need it. After a long time, yeah, we need it. Yes.
If we got a test, we got a test, and we don't have to do a PCR. It's just an antigen, so it's slowly getting easier to travel.
Still, some avid travelers, like this father, worry about testing and say they won't be traveling yet.
Like a positive test would just be disastrous. I mean, what do you do? Like, you're not going to get through the next leg of the journey.
While navigating COVID rules is too much of a hurdle for some travelers now, there's another potential challenge on the horizon. The prices of jet fuel have spiked in recent weeks. It's one of the biggest expenses airlines face. Experts say there's only one way to recoup that cost.
So they have to pass that cost on to the consumers.
Some say fare increases are inevitable.
So we're already seeing about a 25% increase in pricing for the summer. So if we start adding on some more fuel surcharges into the summer, I think it's the summer that's going to get very expensive.
Air Canada and WestJet told CBC News they have no immediate plans to add a new fuel surcharge.
You know, we're just ready to move on, travel, and get back to it.
2 years is too long for many here who say they're ready to embrace a destination vacation no matter what.
Bye.
Farah Morelli, CBC News, Toronto.
You heard Sophia. Spring-like temperatures are on the way just in time for March break. We caught up with some families kicking off their staycation with a trip to the Toronto Zoo.
I'm so excited. The most I like about March break is spending time with friends and family. That there's a bunch of cute animals.
Yeah, what's your favorite animal?
That small monkey. I think a polar bear. And giraffes. Gorillas.
Gorillas, yes. Lots of different animal favorites among the little ones today. The zoo will be open all March break and continuing its celebration of the Year of the Tiger. There's some 10 kilometers of walking trails, so hey, you could get in your steps too. A lollipop in the zoo. It doesn't get much better than that.
I gotta say, I love this time of year because you can be out sledding in, a t-shirt and snow pants when the sun is out and it's warming up, or have that lollipop while you're walking around the 10-kilometer stretch at the zoo. That's awesome. We talked about how March break will be getting progressively warmer each day. Stellar, awesome, everybody. I'm gonna be your favorite this week. And this is right across the board. We have a little bit of seasonal values to get through first before the real warm up. Here is why. There's that big ridge and that boundary that will come in. Monday and Tuesday, we're on the northern side of it though, before the real warmth builds in. So Monday, plenty of sunshine, especially in the south, a little bit of drizzle and rain into the afternoon, and more of a mixing and light snow story, cottage country and north. Similar story with some light flurries for Tuesday, and then watch what happens Wednesday into Thursday. This is kind of an unorganized but very strong upper level jet, and it's what you have to thank for all the warmth that's coming in. Wednesday and Thursday, it'll bring in this big ridge of high pressure and a lot of Gulf warmth. Wednesday, the dial really gets turned up, double digits, especially away from any of the lake shores. Wednesday, Thursday, it'll be a little bit of a disappointment if you're sort of Toronto and east, because you've got that influence from the colder lake waters and colder lake wind. But then Thursday is the real showstopper, right? We talked about St. Patrick's Day. A lot of things will be opening back up this year, and it'll be filled with sunshine and double-digit temperatures for the first time in a while. And it's not just here. It's going to be right across the board. It stays warm right into this weekend. Seasonal should be about 4 this time of year. So this is twice, 3 times the amount amount that we should be this time of year. How long will it last? Well, we go back to more March-like values, but until then, my question for everybody is, will the golf courses be open this March break? I think my husband's already looking it up.
Yeah, exactly. He's Googling. Let us know. Thanks so much, Sophia.
See you next week.
That is our show for you tonight. Thanks so much for watching. As we go, let's take a look at Toronto's waterfront, where some birds today waiting in the cold water. They're going to be happy later this week when the temperatures hit the double digits. Remember, you can stay caught up on news anytime on our website, cbcnews.ca. We hope you have a great night and a great week.